Welcome to the Pope on Film. I am Bunny Williams, and with me is...
I am the Pope in question. My name is Reverend Maylin. I am the founder of the Church of Ed Wood. Yes, Little Lebowski, Urban Achievers, and proud we are of all of that. Fun fact, that poster right there, the Flintstones on the Rocks, that is not a poster. That is actually the cover of some rando comic book that they made in 1962. 1961? In 1961. That just happens to share the same name as this week's movie, the wildly racist 2001 made-for-TV movie, The Flintstones on the Rocks, which Cartoon Network aired once and never aired again.
Good move on their part.
It's never been released on VHS or DVD. It's never been re-aired, and it's not available on any streaming services. I'm not going to get into the specifics about this week's movie yet, The Flintstones on the Rocks, but by the time this podcast is over, I believe that you will all agree with me with this episode's thesis, which is Cartoon Network did 9/11.
Okay.
They were responsible for it. I've got an airtight case. And also another reason why I have a problem with this week's movie, The Flintstones on the Rocks, is that I am, as everyone knows, a proud Roxican American.
Yes.
My parents were both Roxican. My dad was from Roxico, and my mom was from a small border town right next to Roxico, but I am a full-blooded Roxican, and as a Roxican, this is a racist-ass movie, The Flintstones on the Rocks.
Yes.
Wow. They even got that. I remember in the 80s, every other house had one tile that featured a sleeping Mexican in a sombrero sleeping. And they recreated that in this movie, The Flintstones on the Rocks. I was very upset when I saw the sleeping Mexican. But we'll get to that. It is episode 453. Yes, Little Lebowski, Urban Achievers. Very excited for today's episode. We have a lot to get to. I've got a surprisingly large amount of things to talk about with this week's movie, and I put a little video together. Anyway,
yes.
So I wasn't sure what to do for the monologue this week. Should we talk about current events? Should we talk about how the world could end any second? Or about how America has quickly become a dangerous third world country? Do I write a witty monologue about a topic that means a lot to me? Do I come up with a fun game like Pokemon or prescription medication? Or do we once again do what is quickly becoming my favorite reoccurring segment, Jeff, a.k.a. the Betty White Memorial Podcast segment, brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Download today. But here's the thing. Real talk. I have 5 kids. I have PTSD, 2 cases of PTSD. I have PTSD, and now I have all new extra strength PTSD with lemon.
But you were so close to having collected the whole alphabet.
I'm going for it. I'm collecting PTSD like people collect McDonald's collectible glasses.
Yes.
I have insomnia. For the longest time, I always thought insomnia was just I can't sleep. I have no problem sleeping. Sleeping's not a problem. Staying asleep and waking up is my problem, because I will wake up 4 times at night, and then I'll set my alarm for 6:30, but my body's like, no, F you. You're at 4:45. Up. Make coffee. You're awake now, and we're going to think about the horrible things we've done. So I have insomnia. I've been on hormone replacement therapy for 45 weeks now, which means I'm dripping estrogen. I'm tired. I'm moody. I'm hungry all the time. And I'm slowly but surely embracing my stoner life. I've always kept the weed part of my life kind of hidden, probably because I'm a child of the just say no generation. You know, Nancy Reagan sitting on Mr. T's lap telling kids, don't do drugs. And then going and having sex with Mr. T.
You know they did. You know they totally did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, and also, cartoon all-stars to the rescue. If I start smoking marijuana, suddenly the chipmunks are going to be in front of me talking about how disappointed they are.
Yes.
And I don't want that to happen. And also,
that Alvin can be a really belittling fuck when he wants to be. So,
Cartoon Alf is going to show up. I light up a joint. Hey, I eat cats, but you're a fucking dumbass, And that's not going to be good. So, but I have a license to legally consume the stuff. I went a step farther. I have a signed paper from a judge saying it's okay. It helps. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me with my depression. So as the tired, stressed out stoner I am, and to make a long story short, I thought, what would be the easiest opening to do? So we recorded our last episode 3 weeks ago on April 9th, to be exact, and a lot has happened between then and now in my life. A lot! So, F a script. I just want to talk about what has been happening with me. I have a lot going on. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but if I could toot my own horn, I'd never leave the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So, okay, let's talk. The main thing, the big news, the huge thing that happened to me over the past 3 weeks, I finally settled on a stripper name.
Okay.
Really excited. I can now finally hit the poll because I have found the absolutely perfect name for my stripper career. It's also the name of an ancient weapon. Okay. Do you want to know what my stripper name is, Bunny?
Tammy Trebuchet?
You're close. Trebuchet.
Trebuchet.
That's my stripper name. Trebuchet. Be sure and look for my OnlyFans account. Trebuchet. Really excited about that. It's also going to be my burlesque name. I'm only going to do stripper routines to 2 songs. 2 songs. I got a brand new pair of roller skates by Melanie.
Yes.
And whatever song Big Bird and Merle Haggard sings in the film Sesame Street Presents Follow That Bird. Oh, and all of my stripper routines are going to be Oogie Love's theme.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I'm going to be acting out exactly the Dread Pirate Roberts dance moves from that movie. He was in that movie.
Yes.
No, all of my routines are going to be...
I bet you if you bring it up to him, he'll punch you.
I imagine, Carrie Elway's and the Oogie Loves and the Big Balloon Adventure are just like, you know how I'm going to commit suicide? I'm going to find Harrison Ford and start talking to him about the Star Wars holiday special.
Yes.
That's how I intend to die. Either that, or I'm going to ask Tommy Lee Jones why he overacted in his Batman movie. Those are the 2 ways that I'm going to kill myself. It's going to be pretty great.
Of course, if you ask Christopher Lloyd about it, he was like, "Of course I'm in it. I'm a whore. I'm in everything."
Right? Everything. I had an audition. We haven't done the podcast since I did my audition.
No.
Wow. I did an audition. So I was at home and I was high because it was the weekend And I go a little bit all out when it's the weekend because I'm the primary caregiver during the week. Got to get all of these kids up, get them ready for school. Even some of the adults, get them ready for work and take care of animals and do all the dishes and the cleaning. And I'm the primary caregiver in my family. And so I really, you've been calling me that lately, and I felt so good about it. Every time you say that, it makes me feel so good about myself. Primary caregiver. It is the truth. And make money selling feet pics.
If I did that, you probably would be so broke.
Huh. So I'm high and I'm on the computer. And then I see a Facebook post about open auditions to be a performer during the 3-day Oklahoma City Pride Fest in June. And I thought, oh, yeah, being on the big stage in front of like thousands of people, I've always wanted to do that, but yeah, I can't sing.
Yeah.
Although I will be singing a song later. In Act 3, I will be doing a musical number. Be sure and pay attention. It's going to be great.
Okay.
And I'm not really a drag queen, so I can't lip sync something. I can't do it. I'm not a dancer. What am I going to do? Stand up on stage and just read books? So anyway, I did an audition to be a performer at Pride Fest, and I just said, like, oh, man, I don't know if I should audition for this. Well, I'm high, F it. And I just started applying, and it's like, hurry, I've got to apply for this before I stop being high and change my mind. So I auditioned, and it was great. It was really weird because here are all of these young people, and they're all in their 20s, and they're all attractive, and they're all super crazy gay, and they all have tattoos, and they're all awesome. And I'm there watching the auditions, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to be the code breaker, kind of like white president, 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 Obama.
Yeah.
White president, white president. Like, here's this attractive young gay girl singing a song on her guitar. Oh, here's a gay dance troupe. Oh, here's Miss Gay Oklahoma. Oh, here's a rapper. Oh, here's a dancer. Hi, I'm the 46-year-old Mexican trans mother of 5. My wife is here.
Yeah.
I'm going to read an Eric Carle book. So I was the code breaker, but I really knocked it out of the park. I was supposed to have a 5-minute set. I did about 9 minutes, and they loved it. And I had everybody interacting and laughing, and it was so good. And so, like, I told my therapist this, and my therapist said, so right now, Maylin, your chances of being on the big stage are about 50-50. And I said, bitch, 60-40. I freaking nailed it. I nailed that audition. So, everyone keeps asking me, like, oh, did you hear yet? Did you hear yet? But apparently, I knocked it out of the park, 100%. And not only did I do great, but also I'm the only person whose talent was just standing and talking, and it was really good. And so I'm definitely going to stand out. I really do think I'm going to make it on the main stage. Right now, they're still accepting online submissions to be a performer. They just had 1 day of live auditions, and I took part in that. So the cutoff date for the online audition submissions is May 1st. So I should hear in like a week or two if they decide to put me on the stage. But I think the chances are good that I'm going to make it. There are 3 days of Pride Fest. So I think they could shove me in for 20 minutes, you know? I think I got this.
I think you got it.
I really do think I got it. And then my therapist says that I should contact the other LGBTQ organizations that run Pride Fest throughout the city, and maybe I can start doing some more live story times, just find some different groups and organizations that might have me. the woman who is in charge of the children's church, the summer school at my Episcopalian church, wants me to come and do a story time, so that's exciting. So, Maylin, Miss Maylin, the storyteller, is making a comeback. And it's very exciting, and I'm really excited about that. What else happened? I went to a minor league baseball game.
Okay, what the hell did you do a thing like that for?
Did you know we have a minor league baseball team?
No.
I didn't know until March.
Oh,
This past March.
the
I was
Oklahoma
that
City something.
The Oklahoma Dodgers. They're a seed team.
The OKC Dodgers.
Yeah, they're a seed team. I didn't know that shit. But now I can say that I went to a minor league baseball game, and we didn't stay. It was boring as fuck. The food was terrible, but we got a hat.
Well, Natasha's ticket was free.
Yes, the company paid for us.
And there was free food. So I had 2 cheeseburgers, 3 hot dogs, 3 cans of Starry, my new favorite soda, and then we brought 4 home. And we each got a hat, and the hat alone is worth, they sell it in the gift shop for $25. 35? Yeah, so, but I had so much fun because right before we left, I took a huge edible, and around the 2nd or 3rd inning, I said, okay, I'm going to go get lost in this massive stadium. And I just started wandering, and I was high as balls, and it was so much fun.
It was Marvel.
It was Marvel.
Diamond?
It was Marvel Day.
Yeah.
So they had all of these really bad cosplayers throughout the entire stadium, but it was really weird to be like, I am so high. I am so high. Hi, Spider-Gwen. Can I take a picture with you? It was fun. It was fun being really high and just getting lost.
Do you know there's 9 fucking innings to a baseball game?
Yes.
9.
It is obsessive. I am sorry.
It's fucking ridiculous, right? It's insane.
Yeah.
I was like,
why are there so many fucking numbers up there?
I had gone
It'll be over when it's over.
Yeah, right? And I said, fuck you, I'm leaving. It was like, we made it to 4th, 5th inning.
Yeah.
So we made it about halfway through.
I had been to a number of minor league baseball games before, so I was the expert.
Amber would go with,
it says a lot when I'm the sports expert.
I've never been I've never been a baseball fan.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Now, once I actually went to Yankee Stadium.
Nice.
The reaction was
That's
exactly the same.
Yeah.
So Tasha saved herself a trip to Yankee Stadium.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
See them all. Got it.
Oh.
Sorry.
It's okay. I leaned over to Amber in the beginning and I said, I haven't seen this many white people in one place since we both went to go see Alanis Morissette. It was very white. That's the interesting thing about baseball is that I imagine, going to Salt Lake City. And now introducing your team from Salt Lake City. First base, John Smith. Second base, John Smith. Third base, Ernesto Rodriguez. Pitcher, John Smith. So, very white. So there was a shooting that happened next door to my house, and someone died.
Jesus, we didn't even cover that one. Okay.
No, we did cover that one, but Father Tom felt bad for my family, so he and the church gave my family a $70 AMC gift certificate. I took myself and Mal and Amber and Eleanor and Maxwell and cousin Jaden, all of them to the movies like a freaking baller. Yeah. And I got them all like a little kid's snack pack, and they were eating food, and Maxwell's eyes were like huge. huge. She was so excited to go to the movies and watch Mario on the big screen. One sad thing that happened was that I did not celebrate 420. I'm very upset about this. I didn't get a 420 this year, and I'm very pissed off because there was a freaking tornado.
Yes.
That destroyed my town. It was an EF2 tornado. There are two main streets in the town. There's Harrison and there's Kickapoo. And Kickapoo was hit basically directly, and it got absolutely wiped out. There's a puppy. There's the puppy.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a puppy. It's very sweet. That's the run. That's the Steve of the litter, I think is what people call it. So tornado not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before that, hit my town directly. It was an EF3. Oh, there were 3 separate tornadoes. It wasn't just one. There were 3 separate tornadoes, which is absolutely crazy.
So it was a party pack.
Yeah, it was a party pack. And so I didn't get to celebrate 420 because the tornado hit the night of 419 and the power went out. And then the next day was 420 and the power was out all day. The power was out on us for about 3 days. And one thing that was good about the tornado was that I ate like a freaking king. Because there was so much free food everywhere. You go to that supermarket, there's someone. We went to a bank and they were just giving out hot dogs and chips and cookies and sodas. And then we went home and then we heard that, this supermarket, they have someone in the parking lot that's a food truck that's making food. So we went over there and it wasn't really a food truck. It was just this Black family that was just making ribs. And so we had ribs and cobbler. Oh, that was so good. And then the next day around lunchtime, we hear, hey, this one church is giving out free Panda Express.
Okay, nice.
So we rushed to this church. We ate a crap ton of orange chicken and Gatorade. A tornado destroyed my town, and we were out of power for 3 days. But I ate like freaking queen, like a queen. It was nice to see the whole town get together and yada yada yada. And then I went to go see Ari Aster's new movie, Beau is Afraid.
Okay. Well, first. You got to give me a little more on Mario. Okay, is there any reason for this movie to be making the kind of money it is?
You'll find out in our next episode.
Okay.
It's on the Cuff Cuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fun fact, due to a legal error on somebody's part, the entire Mario movie aired on a Brazilian TV station.
Really?
Yep. So, unrelated to that, next week we will be doing the Super Mario movie. I'm really proud of how weird this year has been so far. We've been to some weird places. Skinamarink, Flesh-Eating Mothers. Oh, remember Blood Beat? That was a trip.
Yes.
Dogs, please. Very unprofessional. Okay? Yeah. This podcast.
Want a dog?
We are consummate professionals. Infinity Pool. Remember that? That was weird.
Yes.
Brian and Charles. Skinamarink. I still can't. With Skinamarink. That exists.
But compared to this week's movie, I think this has hit the low for the year.
I freaking hated Skinamarink. I absolutely hated it.
But if you had to watch Skinamarink or Flintstones on the Rocks again,
I would pick Flintstones. It's got the original jazz music in the background, and when the Flintstones started, it was a lot like the Flintstones on the Rocks, that it was kind of quiet, and it wasn't like nonstop gags. Eventually, as the show got older, and there's Pebbles and Bam Bam and Mr. Gazoo, the Great Gazoo. Like, okay, now I don't give a crap about this, but the Flintstones like perfectly encapsulates like that old vibe. Like, you could tell me this movie was made in 1968, and I'd say, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I would rather look at a door for another 90 minutes at a strange angle, darkly lit, than watch Flintstones on the Rock again.
Hey, honey, I don't think Bunny liked the movie. Yeah, couldn't tell. It's a great movie because I always wondered when I was a kid and I was watching the Flintstones cartoons on Saturday mornings, I wondered, I wonder if Fred is a cuck or not. And now I have my answer.
Yeah.
So that's good. Fred is super racist in this, and it pisses me off. But okay. So there was a tornado. I almost died. But then, spoiler alert, I didn't. Positive.
No. Yes.
That was exciting. This is the closest a tornado has ever hit. And then I went to go see in IMAX Ari Aster's new film, Beau is Afraid. This movie is best described by using dialogue from the Kirk Douglas film, The Game. No one can explain what Beau is Afraid is. It's just something you have to see for yourself. Okay. It is 3 hours long. It is wildly uncomfortable. At the end, there's a giant monster, and I wish I could explain it to you, but it would be such a spoiler alert. This movie might be horrible, and I might be obsessed with it. I'm going to see it again tomorrow.
Okay.
So I was going to go see Evil Dead 7 or whatever, but it's like, no, I kind of want to see this weird-ass movie again. So I'm going to see it again. I can't explain. I understand why so many people hate this film.
10-minute warning.
But it's so bizarre that I kind of love it. I kind of love it. And so, okay, so that's all that has happened for me. The main one is I have a stripper name finally. My name is Trebuchet. That's my stripper name, and I'm very excited so I can finally hit the poll, which I know you've been waiting for, buddy. So many times you have asked me to hit the poll, and I haven't. But there's a good chance that by the next episode of this...
But that was before transitioning. You ruined it now.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Quentin Tarantino wrote the script for From Dusk Till Dawn. What happened in that movie? Oh, yeah. Salma Hayek fed of tequila to Quentin Tarantino's character by spilling it down her leg and onto her foot. Huh. I bet that's just a bizarre coincidence that is in no way tied to the rest of his oeuvre.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm a little bit high right now. How are you, Bunny?
And of course, he is the only actor in Hollywood who could possibly have done that part.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, nobody would have the special talent that
Yeah,
Quentin Tarantino has to
exactly.
suck
Getting
on
down.
Selma Hayek's toes while she pours tequila down her legs into her mouth.
Yeah. That's real filmmaking. That's real filmmaking right there, is what that is. Okay, so we are going to take a short break because we do this on Zoom and we have a few minutes left. They have time limits. Now, when we come back, we are going to do our educational segment, Historic Approximations, where we are doing part 3 of a trilogy.
Yes, our first trilogy.
Our first trilogy discussing the history of presidents. We're at number 38. And very excited about this. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper now that we're getting more into the modern era of American presidents. How much Grover Cleveland can you? Do you think they'll ever do another Howard the Duck movie? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sooner or later.
I mean, I'm still shocked that they did another Mario because that's how bad that last one was.
Yes.
Ow, stop
I
scratching
am I
me
am
up.
more alarmed at how much money it's making.
It's making a crap ton.
It's a Mario movie. This may be in the Book of Revelations. You're the religious one. Look it up. It's got to be in there.
Dog, I'm not taking you out right now. I'm in the middle of podcasting, Bernard. Okay? This is very rude of you, dog. Okay.
Maybe the beast is Bowser.
Yeah. Yeah. My kids won't stop singing the Peaches song, which is a bit annoying, but that's fine. It's weird that my children are singing a song constantly that is sung by the guy who also founded Tenacious D. That's a bit odd.
Yes.
That is a bit weird. But we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about presidents. So put your thinking caps on because we will be right back with more of the Pope on Film after this. Do 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 doop doop deep doop skiddly bop boop doop bop da chow and break.
Guy. I think Social Security should be privatized.
You can't go to a supermarket without being accosted by a homeless guy.
Democrats and liberals attack viciously.
Yeah, I will take over. Story time. Not if I have anything to say about it, Skeletor. We will fight to the death. Or, gentlemen, may I suggest a second option? What if we all enjoy the great taste of Sugar Crisp? Can't get enough of that Sugar Crisp, Sugar Crisp, Sugar Crisp.
And we're back with more of the Pope on Film. Yes.
If you're like me, and I know I am, you are no doubt a big fan of this podcast, The Pope on Film. I mean, who isn't? The Pope on Film is the world's greatest podcast that no one has ever heard of.
This is the truth.
When it comes to all of the podcasts out there that no one has ever heard of, we're number one. So, boom.
That is it.
Yeah. But only the real fans, the true hardcore fans that have been with us since the beginning. This is episode 453. So we have done 452 episodes before this one, of course. That's just basic math. And as everyone knows, we have always done this podcast 2 weeks apart. So when we started this podcast back in 2002, Bunny and I were on the same BBS in the same AOL chat room. And Bunny was thinking of a way for us to deal with our grief regarding 9/11. And then I said, I've got an idea, a 2002 idea, podcasting. And he said, what's that? And I said, I don't know, but let's start doing it. And now here we are.
That's right.
Yeah. Only the true hardcore fans that have been with us since the beginning
loves us.
Yeah. Only the real fans know the two basic facts about the both of us. The two undeniably really real and in no way made up on the spot, possibly by one of my kids, wink, wink, facts about the both of us, America's hottest podcasting couple. And when I say podcasting couple, I mean that Bunny and I are very close and that sometimes we say that we love each other. We are not married.
No.
Despite what some people might think online, I am married to Natasha, who is my wife. I am not married to Bunny. Just want to make that clear.
No. And I am with Jeannie over here.
Yeah. I will say Bunny did want to marry me, but Natasha put a ring on it. So Bunny just missed out.
And she won Thunderdome fair and square. I mean,
Nice.
I think the chainsaw was a bit excessive, but, it is Thunderdome,
Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Jeannie. Hi, Jeannie. The Twitch stream is a little bit late. Okay, the two facts, undeniably really real and in no way made up on the spot, possibly by one of my kids because I didn't want to write it. Facts about the both of us, America's hottest podcasting couple, Bunny and Maylin. First and foremost, Bunny, is the first fact, which is about you, is the fact that when you're not recording the podcast, you are in fact a professional pooper. Now, I didn't know that you could make money from pooping, so tell us, Bunny, the fans want to know, how does that work? How do you make money on it? What do you call yourself? Like a person who works at a zoo is a zoologist. What do you call yourself? And how do you make money on it?
Well, technically, what I call myself is a rectal sculptor.
Nice.
Yes.
Kind of like a sandwich artist.
Through many, many years of practice, I can control my sphincter to the point where I can make Abe Lincoln bookends out of my own poop.
That's impressive.
And then of course, then I sell them on Etsy. That's how you make the money.
Yeah.
Etsy is where you really make that, bring that cash in.
Yeah. And the second fact, which is about me, is that I'm a lover of history. I love it, but I'm also a storyteller. So this is the part of the podcast, Act 2, where we get educational. where I get a story from the history books and maybe reword it a little bit to match my own unique storytelling razzmatazz. And that is what this is. Another educationally uneducational installment of Historic Approximations, or as we like to call it, and for those of you playing along at home, this segment is spelled capital H, capital A, but small p. That is vitally important. We need a small p. That's crucial to the whole ebb and flow of the podcast. And to be clear, this segment for years was known as Steve's Historic Approximations, or SHAP, as we like to call it, repeatedly, annoyingly, whether anyone wanted us to or not. However, a dead name is dead for a reason. That name was so 2000 and late, whereas Maylin is so 3008. So we are moving on. Once again, today is indeed a very special hap. It is the third and final chapter of our trilogy of history. For the last 2 episodes, we have been using our superior knowledge of the U.S. presidents and going through each and every president, telling you, the audience, some little-known facts about, by and large, a bunch of corrupt old white war criminals. Hooray!
Hooray!
The first episode, we covered presidents 1 through 21. That was George Washington, I think is how he pronounces his name. I don't know. Not too many people remember it. George Washington. And then to number 21, Chester, comma, and Arthur. The A in the middle stood for Anne, because he was an Arthur. And then in our last episode, we did presidents 22. 22 was Grover Cleveland. That's why I was mentioning Howard the Duck. Whenever I see the name Cleveland, I pronounce it like Howard the Duck. So I have Howard the Duck on the brain because we're going through the presidents.
Who also my favorite Muppet.
Yes.
Okay.
Grover Cleveland.
Right.
Super Grover Cleveland.
We were deprived. We did not have Elmo yet.
Yeah. Elmo Nixon. Last episode, we did presidents number 22 to 37. Number 37 was Richie Nixon. He liked to be called Richie Nix because he was a big Stevie Nicks fan.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He could do all the moves and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon could work a scarf.
Yeah. So many scarves. That's how he got his start. Johnny Depp saw Stevie Nicks on stage and said, "What if instead of 1 scarf, it was 12?" And then he did a shit ton of cocaine and decided to be an actor.
Yes.
There you go. So
you're saying, are you suggesting he had the scarves first?
Yes, scarves first, acting second.
Okay.
You know who I learned that from? Sir John Gielgud.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. So it's factual. So that brings us more or less to the more recent presidential presidents. So this week, the shocking conclusion, shown with no commercial interruptions. Presidents number 38 to 46. Let's do this. Can you please pull up President? Okay, so right now we've got President 37. Richie Nixon. So he was a big time president. He had Nixon now more than ever. Nixon now more than ever. More than ever, we need Nixon now. That was his campaign song. So Richard Nixon, he was forced out of office. Do you know why he was forced out of office, Bunny? Let me tell you. he went after Black Dynamite.
Yes, he did.
And that's something that you don't do.
No.
You don't go against Black Dynamite. He declared war on anyone who sells drugs to the community.
That's right.
But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community. God, what a wonderful movie that is. So good. So then they got Richie Nix out. And every once in a while, they'll do this thing in politics where it's like, okay, we got rid of the president. We need someone else. Oh, I know. We'll get the vice president. The vice president is... Oh, shoot. What's the name of the vice president? Such an important job. And the people who are vice president do so much. Let me just... Harrison Ford. No.
Well, but really, we had Nixon and we had Spiro Agnew as his vice president.
Yeah.
And Spiro Agnew fell first.
Yeah.
So Nixon then had to appoint another vice president. Where they looked, I do not know, to have found Gerald Ford. Stuck him in the position. And
his head is in the perfect shape of a Mexican jumping bee.
Yes. Gerald Ford, the reason I think Gerald Ford is the first president of our modern era, I would say, because he was the first Saturday Night Live president. And Saturday Night Live gave him the reputation of being a bumbler, a stumbler, somebody who trips. This was Chevy Chase's whole fucking bit. But literally, this is the only man who literally just tripped into the fucking presidency.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what this guy reminds me of?
Nobody voted for him. Nobody knew who he was.
You know what I always loved about him, about Gerald Ford? You remember that weird period in time when they were making a bunch of movies
You froze.
starring thumbs. Someone's thumb and then animate a face over it.
Right.
And the thumb would be acting. He was our first thumb president.
Yes, he was.
He is a giant thumb. He is literally, look at his face. His face is the entire body of a minion. If you just got his face and you painted it yellow, he was our second minion president. There was another minion president that we had. I don't remember his name. But if you just painted his head yellow and then put some overalls on him, he would be a minion.
Yes, he would.
Period. So that is Gerald Ford. Let's move on to number 39. So Gerald Ford left. And then in came number 39, Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
He was the first president to also be in a Steve Martin movie, which is a really big deal.
Yes.
Because, yeah, Abraham Lincoln. Okay, what did you do? Freed the slaves. Okay. Were you in a movie with Steve Martin, though? No, you were not. You were shot in a theater, but you know who wasn't in that theater? Steve Martin. Sorry.
Jimmy Carter was an odd one. First, he had us all really kind of nervous being like the first like really professed born again Christian candidate, you know? And then, of
Yeah.
course, you go to an interview in Playboy magazine telling people how you've lusted in your heart. We don't care, Jimmy. We
That
don't
is a
care.
bit weird. He was also a peanut.
Yes.
He was a literal peanut.
Yes.
Not a lot of people know that.
But he turned out better than most, and of course the Republicans hammered him.
And then once he lost the presidency, he said, I am now going to devote the rest of my life to building homeless people.
Yes.
And he would just go from town to town building with a hammer and nails, building homeless people.
Yes.
Which I thought was very nice. He was our first and really only, he was our only John Denver president.
Yeah. I think he was the last president who gave a shit.
But that is exactly Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
He was our first and only Whole Foods president.
Yes.
He was the only president I could think of that if he went to talk to you, he would put his chair around backwards.
Yes.
He didn't have fireside chats. He had fireside hangs.
Yeah.
Where he'd turn his presidential chair around and go, hey, fellas, I just wanted to rap at you. I think abstinence totally rocks. That's the closest I'm going to get to a Jimmy Carter accent.
Not bad. Not bad.
It was all right. So let's move on to number 40, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, the actor. Man, what a horrible idea that was. Let's make sure to never again hire someone who's just famous because they were on movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Let's never make that mistake again.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about Ronald Reagan was that he was shot at and he almost died, but he didn't. So he came out and said, well, I'm Ronald Reagan and I am banning all assault weapons. And Republicans went, yes, a ban on assault weapons. What a great idea, Mr. President. We love this idea and will never turn against it. Why should everyone have assault weapons? Yes, let us ban them. I am so happy that we Republicans are passing this gun legislation. We won't forget that this happened. We support you. Let everyone in America remember that when you think Reagan, you think sensible measures to protect people from guns. We Republican Christians will never forget it.
Yeah.
Hooray, Ronald Reagan. It's fascinating how much, now that you mention it, how much when I look at Ronald Reagan, I picture freaking Eddie Murphy as Gumby. It's so fascinating how pop culture makes you think about presidents. That when I think of Ronald Reagan, I think of Joe Piscopo, I think of Eddie Murphy as Gumby, and I think of Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Oh, and by the way, Dan Aykroyd was Jimmy Carter.
Dan Aykroyd was Jimmy Carter. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And our next president, number 41, George H.W. Bush. The only good thing about George Bush was we gave Garth a pretty decent amount of work.
Well, okay. So let's just go back here a second, okay? So we have an actor who dabbled in politics a little bit, okay? But mostly an actor who, as vice president, has the former head of the CIA. So who exactly is really running things?
Yeah, you can say the exact same thing about George W. Bush.
Yeah.
So, like, George Bush was never our president. Just period. So, George H.W. Bush.
Dana Carvey,
every once in a while, America goes, I don't know, just fucking make the vice president the president. And so George H.W. Bush was, in our modern times, to use the parlance of the young people, George H.W. Bush was our most mid-president. He didn't do anything shocking.
No.
He didn't do anything. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do everything. He wasn't loved. The only good thing that I can remember George H.W. Bush doing is vomiting on like a Japanese emperor or something.
Yes. Which
like,
was fun.
Neat. Good for you.
Which was fun. But that's why we had Dan Quayle. Because Dan Quayle would take all the heat off of him. So every time something was like really going on in the country, like invading Nicaragua and taking Noriega out and arresting him, Dan Quayle would go do something stupid. And we would talk about Dan Quayle and the stupid thing he did. Pretty much where we are now, except like everything's at now.
Kind of like
everything's a distraction of a distraction.
In British terms, George H.W. Bush got Dan Quayle to be his vice president so Dan Quayle could Boris Johnson the country.
Yeah.
Like, I am a complete idiot and I'm doing horrible things, but also look how silly I am.
Yeah.
So George H.W. Bush, our most boring president. He was our first president who was also a Pez dispenser.
Yes, he was.
Because you look at that. He looks like his teeth are made of Tic Tacs. He had Tic Tac teeth. They used to call him that, old Tic Tac teeth. That was the official nickname for. He had a jar of Tic Tacs. After Ronald Reagan, every president had to become obsessed with a candy and have a jar of it at their desk. So let's go through the different presidents. Okay, so after Reagan was George H.W. Bush. His favorite candy was Tic Tac, so he had a jar of Tic Tacs. After that was Bill Clinton. His favorite candy was Roofies, so he had a jar of Roofies on his desk.
Yeah.
George W. Bush's favorite candy was whatever sharp, shiny things, like a baby, like a 1-year-old. So George W. Bush was the first president where they had to baby-proof the White House.
Yes.
Yeah, let's move on to 43. 42. William Jefferson Clinton. Is that his middle name?
I think
was
so.
Was that his middle name? Yeah, William Jefferson Clinton. Okay, I was just guessing, but I mean, when it comes to white people, there are only so many names that you can guess. So, where are we? I'm so high. Bill Clinton. He was a walking, talking, saxophone-playing sexual harassment lawsuit.
Yes, he was.
His hair was just a Brillo pad. when Hillary needed to wash the White House dishes, she would just pick up his head and just rub his head against the dirty dishes. He was like if Patrick Starr liked smelling women's hair.
Yes.
I never liked Bill Clinton. I liked the fact that he was our first president to be like, hey, we care about health. We care about the environment. We care about our kids growing up to be healthy. Now I'm going to eat $300 worth of McDonald's food in one sitting. And he would you would see him on the campaign trail, which was just his excuse to go to different restaurants and eat a shit ton of food. He didn't seem that healthy.
No.
And also, of course he's not healthy. What with all of the cigars, well, at least the ones that he smoked.
Yes.
Because he didn't smoke all of the cigars.
Yeah.
He saved some other ones for special time.
Yes. And the problem was is that, you know, poor Monica Lewinsky just happened to have been there. He was trapped in the White House. He would much prefer picking up a nice, attractive woman from one of the local bowling alleys.
Bill Clinton is definitely our first president to go to a bar to pick up a woman, to be unsuccessful, and then when it's time for last call, getting whatever's left over.
Yes.
He was our first bar skank president. He was our first president where it wasn't beyond the realm of possibilities that he had an 8-track tape of Creedence Clearwater in his Buick LeSabre.
Yeah.
So, I've never liked Bill Clinton. I've never liked the Clintons. And the Republicans love attacking Bill and Hillary Clinton. It's like, I don't like either of them either. So, there you go. Don't care.
I shook Bill Clinton's hand. Personally, me.
What did you say?
I shook Bill Clinton's hand.
Nice. I shook John McCain's hand.
At the park in Yelm, Washington.
Yelm?
Yes.
Yelm.
And the school there, one of the elementary schools, the music teacher wrote the song It Takes a Village, and that's where that whole thing came from. It Takes a Village.
Huh.
Yeah.
I would like to go to Yelm, and then wherever I found the sign Yelm, I would add an O.
Yelmo?
So now it's Yelmo.
Okay.
Hey! That's what Yelmo says. That's what Yelmo says. So let's move on to number 43, our 43rd president, Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, Dick Cheney. Because look between those eyes. Look between those eyes. You know what you see? Nothing.
No.
There's nothing behind those eyes. Nothing between those eyes. That man was more of a puppet than Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
He also, just looking at him, he looks Muppety.
He does. He does look very Muppety.
George W. Bush looks like a Muppet of George W. Bush.
Yes.
He was our first caricature president. And that's fascinating. I blame George W. Bush for
10-minute
Facebook.
warning.
Okay. I blame George W. Bush for Facebook.
Yeah.
Because George W. Bush said, okay, well, yes, 9/11 happened and it's really bad and it sucks and I'm sorry. So we can stop it from happening again. The only problem is no one will ever have privacy again. But we can stop terrorism. So we're going to stop terrorism. None of you have privacy anymore. And all of the patriots said, well, who needs privacy? Take away all of my freedom. And so, and now Facebook knows more about us than we do. And it's all George W. Bush's fault. Right there. That man started it. Your computer accepting cookies. This man started it.
Yes.
Oh, I downloaded this app on my phone. Oh, look, it's actually a Chinese app and it's spying on you. This guy right here. This man. It's all his fault. Number 44, our 44th president, Barack Obama. He was our one and only cool president. Well, I mean, him and James Buchanan, am I right?
Right. And yes, he certainly was cool. Okay? But in the world of Obama worship, can we not forget the drone strikes? Can we not forget drone striking American citizens?
Can
we not forget continuing Afghanistan?
I know that Obama did a bunch of really horrible things, and he killed a lot of people, Mr. Drone Strikes and Mr. Deportation. He deported my favorite rapper, MF Doom. And
Yes.
I know he did horrible things, but that correspondence
he was
dinner,
cool.
that
And the point is, this is the good president.
Yeah. That correspondence dinner he did where he showed up with Keegan-Michael Key as Luther, his anger translator.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
That was a
So
good bit.
That is so good. And then we move on to number 45, our 45th president of the United States from January 20th, 2017 to January 20th, 2021. It's Fuckface Von Dumbass and his vice president, Davy, from Davy and Goliath. Donald Trump wanted Goliath, but he was put down decades ago.
Yes.
So they got Davy instead. And sometimes, like, something horrible would happen, and Mike Pence would turn to Donald Trump and said, "Gee, Donald, do you think it was God?" Just like that. So kudos to Donald. I'm just gonna come out. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are American heroes because they are doing such a service to America. They are teaching people, hey, just because someone has money doesn't mean they're smart.
No.
Just like how Ben Carson is a great American hero for teaching all of us, just because I am a doctor doesn't mean I'm intelligent.
Yes.
So these people are all heroes. And Donald Trump is a hero. And everyone's like, oh man, Donald Trump is the worst. And I'm like, really? I am shocked. Who would have thought that having our president also be a WWE Hall of Fame inductee would be a bad idea?
Well, but all of a sudden, I just became gripped with fear. Like, what happened to Ben Carson? Is he still running something somewhere? Did we just kind of forget about him?
No, he's going from town to town, getting into adventures like Kane from Kung Fu. Meeting people, getting into adventures. Donald Trump, what a piece of shit this guy is. So then, number 46. Let's get to this before we get cut off by Zoom. Number 46, our current president from January 20th, 2021 to now. Well, did you know, buddy? You know how Make-A-Wish makes wishes come true for little kids who are about to die?
Yeah.
Now they're doing it for really old people.
Yeah.
Yay!
People who are inches away from death. And it's like, oh, great-great-grandpa Joe, you're about to die. What would you like to do? And Joe said, oh, your grandpa Joe just wants one thing and one thing only. To go into Willy Wonka's factory. Then I would get out of this bed and dance. But then they said, oh, Willy Wonka isn't real. How about being president? He said, sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to die soon anyway. And here you go.
But he
first
taught
Make-A-Wish president.
Yes, he has taught us a lot of important things. He has taught us that saying poor children are just as smart as white children is a stutter.
Yeah, he said that.
That's a stutter.
That's
Trying to call one of your administrative aides onto the stage having forgotten that they died, that's a stutter.
yeah.
Okay? He taught us a lot about stuttering, where I always thought it was just a speech impediment.
It's
The inability to put on a jacket is a stutter.
the thing is that being a liberal, being a Democrat means that you can either vote for a horrible candidate or fascism. And it's like, okay, I of course am against fascism, but do I have to vote for this person?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm between a rock and a hard place. I will choose this person only because it's Nerf or nothing. It's this horrible person
Yeah.
or concentration camps. I'm going to choose the horrible person, but can we just stop?
Yeah, that's where we're stuck. We're stuck between voting for somebody who isn't going to do a fucking thing for us, as opposed to the ones who will actively hurt us.
Yeah, it's a bit.
And
it's
it.
Just
so
ridiculous.
yeah, we're going to vote for the guy who isn't going to do anything for us. Again,
I voted for Hillary
but sooner
Clinton.
or later, we're going to roll craps on that, and we're going to get the guy who's going to actively hurt us, because nobody's doing anything to stop them.
I voted for Hillary Clinton, but only because I liked the idea of us having two presidents that have had sex with each other. Because
True.
Warren G. Harding and Woodrow Wilson, they just masturbated together.
Yes.
There was no penetration. So, and let's not forget Eisenhower and Truman. Hello. But I liked the idea of oh, hey, our 45th president banged our 42nd president. And hell, maybe our 40th too. I don't know.
If that was part of the slogan, if that was one of the part of the campaign, she would have fucking won.
Yeah. So that has been our 3-part look at American presidents, and I hope you all learned something. Next episode, we're going to go back to our normal stories, or maybe I'll find some other thing that we could do, because this has been fun. 3 episodes. This has been a blast. I had fun doing this. So I'll see if we can do it again for some other thing. I don't want to do vice presidents, because that's lame, but we'll see. But join us next time for more educationally uneducational fun with historic approximations, and cut on that. We are going to be taking a short break. We're going to be showing some videos, some songs, some cartoons, having a bunch of fun. When we come back, we're finally going to get to this week's movie, the 2001
Whoop. We just cut. Okay.
Oh, when you think you're ready, go down to Crazy Eddie, the man who's got most everything. His stereo sound, his audio selection, Wally with your perfection. He's the man with all the lowest prices around. So come on down and put him to the test. See whose prices really are the best. Who fix you up with the sound that fits your place and guarantee a smile upon your face. Oh, when you think you're ready, go down to Crazy Eddie, the man who's got most everything. His stereo sound, and so the story's told across the whole wide world. Crazy Eddie will not ever be undersold.
Need a new stereo, color TV, CB? Call 645-1196 for the most ridiculous prices ever during Crazy Eddie's Christmas sale. In August?
Huh, look at this. Certified frustration-free packaging. Not frustrating, that's good. Guess I just pull here and damn it. Damn it! Damn it! Okay. No! It's The Death of Richie, the Special Edition. The Death of Richie is a 1977 made-for-TV movie, and now, with The Death of Richie Special Edition, now out on Blu-ray and DVD, you can watch The Death of Richie as it was originally meant to be. Gone are all of the old and outdated scenes of a young man struggling with a drug addiction, and in its place is the scene at the end of La Bamba where actor Esai Morales calls out for his brother. It's The Death of Richie Special La Bamba Edition. Gone are Robbie Benson, and in its place, 1 hour and 35 minutes of Esai Morales yelling for Richie. That's all it is, just Esai Morales yelling for Richie. Do you like seeing Mexicans yell for their dead brother? Of course you do. And now with The Death of Richie, the Special Edition, you can watch 1 hour and 35 minutes of Esai Morales yelling for his brother. That's right, Esai Morales. Richie! It's The Death of Richie, the Special Edition.
Richie! I can do it longer than him. So Richie!
I like these posts in the rants and raves section of the Oklahoma City Craigslist page because I guess it's just justifying my beliefs. People are horrible. The headline is USA and Mexico. Alright, keep a positive attitude towards this.
I was visiting with a blood relative who was married to a Mexican. And the relative brought up Trump at the wall. The relative was irritated that Trump thinks Mexico will pay for the wall. Being a nice relative, I just listened and was told Mexico hates Trump. I feel as if I have stumbled onto something. Go Trump, go, baby, build that beautiful wall.
So happy to be a brown-skinned individual in the Bible Belt. Gee, I feel so welcomed and invited. Just feel so warm. People are treating me so nice here. Like, man, they make sure to put their sights on me first. It's like I have red dots all around me from their sniper rifles. Yay! I'm gonna get me a pickup truck and a dog and a shotgun. I'll start saying y'all.
Be like water and come back next week, or I'll kick your ass.
Passionate about life, his career. Me. Lately, I feel like I don't exist.
Oh, you exist, all right, Wilma. You exist.
Can you just shut up for 1 second, Fred? My, Mrs. Flintstone. What could possibly be the source of all these suppressed frustrations?
Yes, Mrs. Flintstone, what could possibly be the source?
When was the last time you kissed me, Fred?
How soon we forget. It was 17 weeks last Thursday.
Oh, boy. To get to the root of these problems, I am going to need to see a typical evening in the Flintstone household. So what I would like to do is a little role-playing. Mr. Flintstone, I would like you to pretend you are your wife in a typical everyday evening in your cave.
Oh, can I, please?
And Mrs. Flintstone, I would like you to pretend you are your husband, coming home from a typical day of work. Now then, Mr. Flintstone, remember, an average typical evening at home as your wife.
Oh, I'm so exhausted. I've done nothing all day. Oh, my goodness. The house is a mess. Fred will be home any second. What should I do? Absolutely nothing.
Wilma, I'm home. I'm just not fat enough. I can still fit through the front door. Now, where's my dinner?
You're such a slave driver! Why do you push me so hard?
What, Wilma? I'm sorry, Wilma. I just can't hear you, 'cause I'm not listening.
Hello, Betty. Yeah, I can talk as long as I want. I don't pay the bill. Tap, 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 tap.
Hang in there, boy. I'll get food in you soon. Oh, hi, Bonnie. You want to do something stupid today? Hopefully something that gets me hurt.
All right, Wilma, let's stop with all the theatrics, or I might be forced to tell a little secret I know about you.
Oh, yeah, Fred? What?
Oh, come now. Wilma, you really don't know?
Know what, Fred?
Wilma Flintstone, a natural redhead?
And we're back with more of the Pope on Film.
Fred
It's
so
time, buddy!
passionate about life.
Unfortunately, it is
career.
time.
Yes, Bunny, my friend, who is more than brother to me. I embrace
I
thee.
feel like I don't
Because it's
exist.
time once again for all of us
you
here at the Pope on
exist,
Film
all right,
podcast
Wilma.
to casually
You
saunter our
exist.
way
Can you
into the
just shut
third
up
and
for
final
one
act
second,
of the
Fred?
show. And it is said third act, wherein we finally
Mrs.
and eventually get
Flintstone.
around to
What
discussing
could
our
possibly
all-new
be the
low-fat,
source of all these
high in
suppressed
fiber, and now
frustrations?
available without a
Yes, Mrs.
prescription
Flintstone, what could possibly
movie
be the source?
of the
When was
week.
the last time you kissed
And this
me,
week we
Fred?
discussed the long-lost
How
Flintstones
soon we
reboot
forget.
from
It was 17
2001,
weeks last
from the
Thursday.
beginning of
Oh,
September
boy. To get to the
of
root these
2001,
problems,
which
I
is
am
why
going to
all
need to
of
see a typical
America
evening in
remembers
the Flintstone
September
household. So what I would like to
2001.
do is a little
Yes.
role play.
If anyone
Mr.
mentions
Flintstone,
September
I
of
would like you to
2001,
pretend
they
you
say,
are your wife
ugh,
in a typical
that
everyday
Flintstones
evening in your
reboot, am I
cave.
right?
Oh, can I,
Worst thing
please?
to
And
happen
Mrs.
all
Flintstone,
year.
I would
Yes.
like you to pretend you
Nothing
are your
else
husband,
beats it.
coming home from a typical day of work.
It's
Now
time
then,
for our
Mr.
discussion
Flintstone,
of
remember,
the Flintstones
an average
on the
typical
Rocks.
evening at home. As
Or,
your wife.
as I like to call it, how Wilma got her groove back.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm so exhausted.
So I
done
put this
nothing
thing
all day.
together.
Oh, my goodness. The
It
house
goes
is a
pretty
mess.
hard.
Fred will be home
The
any
video that
second.
you were
What should
watching,
I
as well as
do?
the background, the Flintstone on the Rocks. Really proud of this. I threw it
Absolutely
together. It features a few scenes from the Flintstones on the Rocks.
Home.
A
I'm just
lot
not
of
fat
scenes
enough.
of
I
them.
can still fit through the
I
front
think I have
door.
3 or 4
Now,
commercials of the
where's my
Flintstones
dinner?
selling Winston brand cigarettes.
Okay.
And then one long bit of the Flintstones selling Bush beer.
Really?
Yeah, so Fred and Barney get fired from the quarry, so they go to their favorite bar and drink tasty Bush beer. And then they concoct some plan and yada, 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 and it doesn't work. So they go back to Fred's house and drink more delicious Bush beer. So, and also a lot of clips of Fred trying to kill somebody.
Yes.
With a hatchet. I love that clip. So, okay. Now, I know that Bunny hated the Flintstone on the Rocks, but hear me out. Okay?
Okay.
Hear me out. Speaking of 2001, Seth MacFarlane, who was supposed to be in one of the planes that went into the Twin Towers, but he was hungover, so he was 15 minutes late to his flight, and they wouldn't let him on.
Yeah.
So the success of Family Guy is solely because he obviously did some sort of a deal with the devil. Period.
Yes.
You cannot convince me otherwise. A few years ago, I would say 2014, 2015, he tried to reboot the Flintstones as an adult Family Guy type sitcom, but the TV networks passed on it. So when you're talking Flintstones reboots,
yeah,
I would rather watch the Flintstones on the Rocks by whatever the unreleased Seth MacFarlane pilot is. I'm just saying. So, I don't think that the Flintstones on the Rocks is that bad. I mean, as far as reboots of classic television shows go, this does look authentic AF, the Flintstones on the Rocks. I mean, this aired on the Cartoon Network the same year as Shrek and Legally Blonde, and yet if you just came up to me and said, hey, the Flintstones on the Rocks, this is an animated movie that they made in 1965, I would believe you, because this movie is ridiculously faithful to the original TV show. And for that alone, I don't hate this. That being said, holy crap, Fred Flintstone's a racist bastard.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
Holy shit, Fred Flintstone is racist. Racist as hell in this week's movie.
But I just don't find that very original. You know, I don't like. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we didn't see a lot of this kind of thing that we see in this movie in the Flintstones itself. But certainly it makes sense if you look at it from the perspective of the Honeymooners, which the Flintstones is taken from. They're very mean-spirited.
Yes.
It's all very mean-spirited. It's not... It's not exploring anything particularly new.
Yeah.
It's just worse.
Yeah. However, with the short runtime, I'd rather watch this than that movie they did.
The actual theatrical release Flintstone movie? You frozen again.
Where Fred Flintstone's a spy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're good?
We're good. You froze for a second there.
Okay. So I cede the floor to the Honorable Bunny Williams. Bunny, tell us what you think about this movie.
Oh, it's just crap. It's just crap. It's very mean-spirited. It also feels like it's kind of been done before. Like you could see Okay, so like it makes a certain bit of sense that the Flintstones are this way, that they are mean-spirited, that they are racist, but it seems like a very simple scratch at the surface instead of really doing something funny.
Yeah. Okay, so here you go. Okay, so Fred and Barney went to a bar. They just got fired, and now they're going to go see their bartender and drink a delicious bush beer while they try and figure out how to get their jobs back. They're getting drunk right now.
Okay.
That's fascinating to me. This was very much an adult cartoon that was originally meant for adults. And then somehow, by the time I was born, it was Saturday morning kids shit.
Yeah.
And that must be fascinating, you know? Like, is South Park going to be playing like on PBS Kids when I'm 70 years old?
It's possible. But
Fascinating.
But seriously, the collapse of society will happen first, so.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The giant asteroid will hit before that. So let's do some stats. The Flintstones on the Rocks was an animated movie that played on Cartoon Network just once and they never aired it again. It was a made-for-TV movie. It just meets the Dumbo threshold.
Yeah.
Dumbo, the Disney animated movie Dumbo, was, I believe, 61 minutes long, which is basically the episode of the Fall Festival episode of Parks and Recreation. There are episodes of The Office that are longer than the movie Dumbo. So I believe that to be the cutoff, that okay, if you're shorter than Dumbo, you're not a movie. Period. John Carpenter made a horror movie specifically for like a religious organization, and it was considered lost for a very long time, but then someone found it, and I'm like, oh, this might be interesting to watch, but it's 59 minutes long. That's not a movie.
Yeah.
If your movie is shorter than an episode of Maury, then you're not a movie.
Uh-huh.
So the Flintstones just barely meets the Dumbo requirement for this to be considered a movie. This was an attempt by Cartoon Network to reboot the Flintstones back to its roots as a primetime cartoon for adults. This movie aired only once, approximately 1 week before 9/11. Talk about bad timing.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not bad timing. Because once this aired, basically Cartoon Network went, yikes, nobody likes our Flintstones reboot. This was a big time mistake. Did we have Betty and Barney fuck? That's in this movie. Did we have Fred get a hand job from a strange man in a shower? We did. Holy crap. This was not good, huh? How can we have people forget that this movie ever existed and then a week later, boom, 9/11. So look, no one here is in any way saying that Cartoon Network was responsible for 9/11. Bonnie, can you say Cartoon Network was responsible for 9/11 for me, please?
I think it was responsible for 9/11. I mean,
there you go. You heard it first from Bunny Williams. Cartoon Network was responsible for 9/11. We are through the looking glass here, people.
Yes, we are.
Black is white. Dogs are cats. Peanut butter is jelly. There's a weird claymation section to this. Be sure and stick around because in a little bit I will be singing a musical number which you are all going to want to hear. I love this clip that keeps playing of Fred chasing someone with a meat cleaver. It came from an episode of The Flintstones that I saw as a kid that legitimately scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. I'm glad you included the way outs.
Oh, yeah, the way outs.
The way outs.
The way outs. Oh, yeah. What's your name? John Lennon? And what's your friend's name? Paul McSomething? Look. Guitar bands are on their way out. Guitar bands are not popular anymore. No one's going to care about the Beatles. And look at this. Even Fred got into a guitar band.
Yeah.
And also the Royal Order of Water Buffaloes. Can we just admit that this is just a psyop? I mean, they're the deep state. Really?
They are. Yeah.
Illuminati.
Uh-huh. I mean, I'm sure they tied to the Masonic Temple somehow.
Right, yeah, somehow. Hey, let's play a really quick game before it starts. Before the preview starts that I put on this video. I'm going to say the name of a professional wrestler, and you are going to guess what their Flintstones name is in the 2015 film, The Flintstones in WWE Stone Age SmackDown.
Okay.
Are you ready, Bunny?
Okay.
Okay. Mark Henry. Mark Henry.
Mark Henrock.
No. No. The last name is the same. I'll give you that. Mark Henry. Mark Henry. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. I believe in you. You got this, Bunny.
No, I'm completely blank.
Marble Henry.
Marble Henry.
Okay, here's another one. CM Punk. You got this. You got this. I can tell you that this one's not surprising.
CM Pumice.
No, CM Punk Rock.
Okay.
So that's kind of... Okay, the last one. John Cena. This one's the worst. Like, they weren't even trying. It's John Cena Stone. John Cena Stone.
Okay.
John Cena Stone.
Yeah, no, they weren't.
Yeah, they didn't even try when it came to John Cena. They didn't even try. Also, the song that's playing right now, to be clear, I am a big fan of the Flintstones from when I was a kid. I was a huge fan. The beginning, the first few seasons, the episodes of the first few seasons were a lot like this week's movie, The Flintstones on the Rocks, because it was quiet. They had that jazzy background music, and it wasn't all pratfalls and stuff like that. And that video that was playing was Pebbles and Bam Bam. It's a dream episode, and for whatever reason, they can't talk and they're still babies, but they can perfectly sing one song and become celebrities.
Yes.
I would now like to sing that song to you. Of course, I'm not going to sing it. I'm not going to sing a song, Eleanor, on the podcast, because it's not like I have memorized this one song from a TV show from the 1960s. I mean, that would be weird.
I bet you I could join you.
Mommy told me something a little kid should know. It's all about the devil, and I've learned to hate him so. She said he causes trouble when you let him in the room. But he'll never, ever leave you if your heart is filled with gloom. So let the sun shine in. Face it with a grin. Smilers never lose. And frowners never win, so let the sun shine in. Face it with a grin. Open up your heart and let the sun shine in. Bitches! They cut out the bitches part for TV. But that is the song that they sing in that one specific episode of The Flintstones. And like all of the times that I sing on this podcast, of course, there's a Tom reference. So there's a video coming up on the podcast. Tom and I, he was a friend of mine. We were very close, and he was straight. We were two straight guys that just happened to spend all of our time together and sometimes cuddle and kiss. That's just what straight dudes do. So we would oftentimes go out for a day or for the weekend or just go off, almost sort of like a vacation. And he would pay and he would drive and spend all of his money on me, his straight friend, who was of the same sex, two guys that were very close and sometimes showered. You know, like straight dudes do. So what we would do regularly is we would drive to the Grand Canyon. We wouldn't go see the Grand Canyon, though, because on the road to the Grand Canyon, you pass through a small town where there was a granite company, and so they built a fake bedrock city and charged people like $5 to go and visit it. And they had a giant brontosaurus that had a slide so you could slide down like in the opening credits of the Flintstones. And you could go into Barney's house and Fred's house. And so Tom and I would drive like 3.5, 4 hours to go visit this park and hang out for like an hour and then go home. It was absolutely pointless, but we would do it all the time. And so we became good friends. We became very good fans of the Flintstones. They had a movie theater at Bedrock City in Vail, Arizona, where they had a movie theater that would just play on a loop the first 2 episodes of the Flintstones ever. And Tom and I would just go in there, smoke cigarettes, sneak in some beers. We'd be drinking inside of the Flintstones theater. It is really shitty. It was really, I say was. It was really shitty. The place closed down. New shoes. I like them. Very nice, Eleanor. So yeah, everything has a Tom connection. So that's my Tom connection. So as Bunny was saying, Cartoon Network is responsible for 9/11 as a way to make the public forget about this week's movie.
Yes.
This is an adult Flintstones reboot. Because originally the Flintstones was on primetime for adults. You're welcome. You're welcome, American Dad.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Archer. You're welcome, The Simpsons. The Flintstones was your daddy. But this is a surprisingly adult reboot. You hear Betty and Barney fucking
Yeah.
in this movie. That's crazy, right? Apparently Betty's a giggler. I don't want to have sex with someone who's just the whole time. That's creepy. It's like having sex with Betty Crocker. Ew. That's just weird. And then Fred gets a sponge bath and a hand job from a stranger, probably opening Fred to some bisexuality. In his world, he doesn't download Grindr. He downloads Graveler.
Yes.
Gravveler is how it would be spelled. I've thought a lot about this lately. And then there's Fred doing Chevy Chase in National Lampoon's Vacation with a Roxican girl. That was weird. This is a strange-ass movie. So, in 1959, Hanna-Barbera filmed a 90-minute pilot called The Flintstones, and it was basically the Flintstones, except they were called the Flintstones. And Wilma was voiced by June Foray, a.k.a. Rocket J. Squirrel, Magica McDuck, Natasha Patel. And get this. Okay, so Hanna-Barbera made the 90-minute pilot in 1959. Guess when it aired on TV, Bunny?
Early 60s, like 63, 64, something like that.
No! 1994! The pilot was lost. The pilot was lost. Cartoon Network discovered it in a New York City storage facility. Mama. I find that fascinating. Fascinating. So right now they're showing the really crappy low rent of Bedrock, Flintstones Bedrock City. If you go into Fred's house, he is supposed to have a bowling trophy on his fireplace, on his mantle. It's not there because I stole it.
Okay.
It was a different time. I was a teenager, and I stole Fred. I may have also taken some risque pictures on Fred's bed.
Okay.
They just showed Fred's bed. Tom and I took some pictures, like two straight dudes do. Two straight dudes who sometimes kiss and hold each other when they're sleeping and jack together. Like two straight guys, two fellas. Yeah. It's just what you do. So that's what they're showing now. And before, I'm not sure if you noticed, Bunny, this movie, Mr. Slate is voiced by the original Mr. Slate from the TV show.
Really?
This is, everyone else has been changed. Frank Welker
dead.
Does Dino. Tress MacNeille, who voiced 75% of all female animated characters, does Wilma Flintstone. Kevin Michael Richardson, big black dude, does Barney Rubble. Dino is voiced by Frank Welker. The bellboy is voiced by SpongeBob. Get this. In the beginning, there's a marriage counselor. That's voiced by Zelda Rubinstein. The medium from Poltergeist.
His cartoon is clean.
Yeah, that was Zelda Rubinstein. Oh, yeah, for no reason at the end, I just put an Ed Wood movie. I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Oh, and I don't know where I downloaded this copy of Night of the Ghouls from, but it has Mexican subtitles.
Really?
Hola, soy Criswell. It's in English, but for some reason it's Spanish subtitles. I freaking love it so much. Before, I'm not sure if you saw the preview that played, Bunny, but I put in the preview for the Flintstones and WWE Stone Age SmackDown because this movie was the last ever Flintstones production until 2015 when Hanna-Barbera teamed up with the WWE to make some wrestling animated movies for kids. They made a Jetsons one. They made 2 Scooby-Doo ones, and then they made the Flintstones and WWE Stone Age SmackDown, where Fred accidentally invents professional wrestling with the help of, and this is true, Marble Henry, Daniel Bryrock. Instead of the Bella twins, it's the Boulder twins, Rey Mysterio, The Undertaker, no change, CM Punk Rock, and John Cena Stone. I like how I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But I like how Fred invents professional wrestling, but it's too difficult. So he quits and sells the company to a shrewd businessman called Mr. McMagma.
Uh-huh.
And I like this because essentially that is also how the WWE happened. Vince McMahon just bought the company from his father and made millions and then ended up fucking a lot of his employees.
Yes.
So this movie was the last time also that the Flintstones appeared on TV.
Really?
I mean, there's been no reboot. I mean, they did the Flintstones WWE movie. That was straight to DVD. This is the last time that the Flintstones appeared on TV. It aired about a week before 9/11, and then it never aired again. Ever. Period. The end.
File
and that's kind of
closed.
sad.
The
you know,
police
I
had
grew up
only
when you could
opinions
watch
to
the
the true
Flintstones
ending. It was only
regularly on
Patrolman
TV.
Kelton's guess that could
I
be
know the
considered
way
the
out.
closest.
I know the Great Gazoo. Although I hated the Great Gazoo.
Okay. Here we come on the run with a burger on a bun and a dab of cola on the side. Your taste wheel tickle with a cool dill
And now
pickle,
we
and I
return
forget the
to our
rest.
graves. The
Nice.
But that's not a bad
and
chunk.
the new. And you may join us soon.
There was a Fruity Pebbles commercial that would air every Christmas. And
10 minute warning.
Santa comes, yabba dabba doo, Jesus too. Ho ho ho, I'm hungry. The catchphrase yabba dabba doo came from the voice actor who originally Fred was just supposed to say Yahoo! But the voice actor's mom would always say, a little dabble do ya. What is that? What commercial was that from? What?
Grill cream.
Grill cream. Okay. So his mom would always say, a little dabble do ya. So he came up on the spot. Hey, instead of Yahoo, how about Yabba Dabba Doo? And they're like, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then, so that's how that came along. So I think it's all right. You can find this on archive.org. You should probably download the Flintstones on the Rocks now while you can before the government shuts down archive.org. But I like this movie. It's okay. It's not the best, but it's short and it's kind of stupid. But I hope to never see Fred and Barney in a Speedo ever again.
This is very true.
So there's that. Fred Flintstone is a cuck. That is good to know. I was kind of hoping that Wilma got it on with the jewel thief. To be honest with you. When I first saw this, it was shocking to see Wilma show up in lingerie to try and do it with Fred.
And she was looking pretty good.
And she was looking pretty good. She should put her hair down more. But anywho, that's it for this week's movie, The Flintstones on the Rocks. I think it's all right. Bunny hates it. We've had a pretty odd year. I'm trying to make this a different year where we zig when you think we're going to zag.
Yes.
And when you think we're going to zag, we do zag to throw you off so that you're surprised when the next time we zig and then zag and then go back to zigging. So we've done Blood Beat, Flesh Eating Mothers, Infinity Poop, Skinamarink. Brian and Charles was adorable. Marcel the Shell with shoes on. I have never wanted to hug a movie more in my entire life. And now the almost long-lost adult Flintstones movie from 9/11. This has been a strange year, and I am loving it. So that is it for this episode. The next episode, we are going to do one more episode before we start our Summer of Yo, where we watch every Rocky movie and also Boxing Helena for obvious reasons. Rocky 1 and 2 are supposed to be decent movies. I haven't seen them in forever. I loved Rocky 3 growing up. Rocky 4 is so horrible that it's wonderful. I absolutely hate to death Rocky 5, and I hated it so much that I never saw Rocky Balboa, Creed, Creed 2, or Creed 3. But I'm excited to get past Rocky Balboa to get to the Creed movies because I like Michael B. Jordan. What? But this will be interesting. And remember, Bonnie, we're going to count every yo in every individual movie, and then we're going to make a tally and see how many yos in our Summer of Yo.
Okay.
Cartoon Network did 9/11. Bunny Williams. There's the quote right there. Put that on a shirt. Cartoon Network did 9/11 in order to hide their Flintstones reboot, The Flintstones on the Rocks. We finally got down to it. So we're going to do one more movie till we get to our summer theme of Rocky movies. So we're doing the Super Mario Brothers movie, which recently aired in its entirety on Brazilian television.
Okay.
No, the new one that just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, due to some legal reasons, like the fact that in foreign countries it's difficult to continue with copyright rules, an actual television station in Brazil aired the entirety of the brand new Super Mario Brothers movie. Completely unrelated, Bunny. Go to the cough because there's a file there. It is entirely in English, although when it's time to read something on screen, for some strange reason, it's not in English. It's in some foreign language. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to the bottom of it in the episode.
Okay.
Who knows why it's in some sort of different language, like Brazilian or Portuguese. I don't know. But we're doing the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Cool.
Very, very exciting, because a couple of times in this episode, you were asking, why is this movie making such a ridiculous amount of money? And we're going to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, I want to see what the big fucking deal is. But I don't want to contribute to it.
Yeah. So, you are welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's all right. I don't think it's the best. Yeah. I think the only reason why it's a success is because, you know, I used to be in charge of the children's department at the Barnes & Noble, and people would come in and say, yes, where are your Mario books? And it's like, there are none. Okay, do you have any other characters like Zelda? And it's like, Nintendo releases nothing. I have nothing for you. They haven't made any books. They haven't made any comic books, any series. There's nothing. I hope that there one day is, but there just isn't. So I think the reason why the Mario movie is so successful is because finally Nintendo got over John Leguizamo and Anthony Hopkins? Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
No, Bob Hoskins, not Bob Anthony Hopkins. Oh, that would be scary. It's a me, Mario.
You froze again.
That's Anthony Hopkins. I think that's why the movie. I'm frozen again? Can you hear me?
You're on.
Can you hear me?
You're good.
Am I good?
You're good.
Frozen. Okay, good. Okay. So next week we are doing the Super Mario Brothers movie. Be sure and join that. That's going to be really fun. But now that I'm looking back at this whole episode, the ups and the downs, Bo is afraid. tornadoes. Cartoon Network did 9/11. Presidents. Our 45th president, fuckface Von Dumbass, and his vice president, Davy from Davy and Goliath, how Wilma got her groove back, that he's a giggler. I gotta say, I think this has been a pretty good episode of the podcast.
This has been a damn good episode of the podcast.
Okay, good. I felt that I agree with that statement. I felt the same way, but I didn't want to step on your toes because I feel you're the person who makes the decision as to whether or not this is a success. But yes, I concur with your assessment, good sir.
So until next week, I am Bunny Williams.
And I am Reverend May Lane, and on behalf of Natasha, Maxwell, Mal, Eleanor, Amber, and everybody else, I just want to say thanks for listening, and we will see you next week, you godless heathen.
Fred was so passionate about life, his career. Me.
Okay.
Lately, I feel like I don't exist.
Did you just call me a baby?
You exist, all right,
I am a
woman.
grown up.
You exist.
Can you
I'm
for
a
1 second, Fred?
My, Mrs. Flintstone. What could possibly be the source of all this suppressed frustration?
Yes, Mrs. Flintstone, what could possibly be the source?
When was the last time you kissed me, Fred?